2 words, Revo Fitness. Here's a few more. Simple, 24/7, reformer Pilates, body scanners, massage chairs, squat racks, free weights, pin and plate loaded equipment, no lock-in contracts, no bullshit. All of that and more from just $9.69 a week. That's surprisingly affordable. Join now at Revo Fitness Windsor Gardens or download the Revo Fitness app. RevoFitness.com.au or find the Revo Fitness app in the App Store.
Welcome back to the ChrissieCast, where we dive into big laughs and even bigger chats. And today's guest, well, he's proof that evolution is real. His parents, tough as nails, old school, built to survive. Dave, softer, gentler, emotionally available, probably a vegan, meditates, definitely moisturises, and wouldn't dream of telling anyone to man up. Please welcome to the ChrissieCast, winner of Search for the Funny Bone in 2005, the great Dave Thornton. Hello, beautiful.
You have me at every turn.
I know you.
I'm not sure if I'm proud of that or a little ashamed, because every time you said a sentence, I was like, yeah, well, that is spot on.
That is you.
You know what I found out? I figured this out,
Yeah.
and I said to friends, what I think I am, because I grew up in Geelong.
Yeah.
Is
So
that,
I've got a floaty over my eyeball. Did that ever happen to you?
yeah. I had to go to the optometrist recently to get something pulled out of my eyeball. And he actually pulled it out. I was like, look at that. And I went, oh, my God, that's been sitting in there for 4 days.
Was it a rabbit? Watch me pull a rabbit out of my
And then
eyeball.
he sawed his assistant in half. It really was a show.
Anyway, back to your sentence. In Geelong.
Kids, you can go to Cirque du Soleil, but...
Why? When you can go to Specsavers. Bang.
It's so good.
Hey, what about that bit in the eye test where they go,
Yeah.
they blow it, they blow you in the eye?
Yeah. And you've
Oh,
got to
that
keep it
sounds
open and you're waiting
questionable.
for it to happen. And it goes poof.
Yeah.
You're not ready for it when it does.
And I try and outsmart it. I'm like, I'm not going to blink. I'm not going to. But you can't help it. It just happens.
I know. Concentrating on not blinking
Involuntary.
is a sure way for you to have to blink.
Correct.
It's no good. But what I was saying was I realised the best representation of me is because I got this at a bar and I was like, oh, this is kind of like me. I got a can of Pinot Noir. Like, I was at a brewery and I said, I'm not really up for beer. And he goes, we got cans of wine. And I thought, that's probably where...
Wait.
Because I grew up in Geelong, kind of boganish. And now I'm living in the inner city and thinking I'm pretty cool, but I haven't fully made it there. So I think the personification of me is a can of wine.
Can I ask? I don't know that much about wine. I know that I drank too much of it for about 4 months in lockdown, and I haven't had a drink for over 4 years now. Can you believe it?
4 years, good work.
4 years. Not a snifter.
Yeah.
Is Pinot Noir fizzy?
No, that's why it's funny it's in a can. Pinot Noir is not fizzy. It's a lighter red and...
I feel like if there's a drink in a can, it's got to be fizzy.
Yeah, I mean, I laughed because it's not often that you go, would you like to go for a wine? It's a funny noise to start quaffing a wine with. But I thought it's very funny. That is the cross-section of inner city cool and bogan right there. Let's can on. Let's smash some reds, hey?
Smash
what do you
some
reckon?
cans. Would you like a saltwater taffy?
Well, I'm not the Artful Dodger, but I will take one. This is taffy. It's not often you get these offered.
They are called saltwater taffy.
Mate, this is old school. But would this hurt my broadcasting? Like it,
I want to get your feedback on it.
this reminds me of my grandmother. Honestly, it's the kind of sweets you would get in the 80s.
There's something
Someone who grew up in the Great Depression.
My gran made a great pumpkin scone. I tried to recreate them. They're just not the same. From her fair hand, from her
No, it's
fair...
nice.
Do you like it?
Well, it's not nice for the listeners just to hear me munching away, but yeah, that is nice.
I just love the name saltwater taffy.
Yeah, it's got a certain nostalgia about it, a saltwater taffy.
Gotta get a pen, Dave.
It's old school again. Doesn't use her phone, ladies and gentlemen. She gets out a Bic. She writes it down on a piece of paper.
Actually, this is from, this is the best pen I've ever had.
That's
and
a big pull.
it's a free pen from a hotel in Rome. I can say that because I went to Europe for the first time last year.
You've travelled.
I've travelled.
Is that how Chrissy got her groove
again,
back?
To be honest, huh?
Is that how Chrissy got her groove back? Was this your Bali? Was this your Eat, Pray, Love?
Can I tell you, that was the headline in a Women's Weekly article featuring my good self, and I've forgotten until I saw it about 3 days ago how Chrissy got her groove back.
So you were finding out about how you got your groove back?
Yeah.
Oh.
They obviously didn't see me last night with a big orange oats brush broom in my avocado hoodie sweeping my terrace. That is not groovy. That's not a groovy thing to do.
I mean, what a mental picture. You can take that home with your kids. That's nice.
Do you get much time to watch telly, Dave?
Oh, free to air, not as much.
Well, that's good because there's nothing on it.
Although if people want to put me on anything, I'm fine. But I'm just streaming the hell out. Like, it has turned into a bit of that, other than sport and news.
I just feel like I'm missing the boat on things that everyone has seen. I saw 3 of Apple Cider Vinegar, the story of Belle Gibson.
I haven't seen it, but yeah, that's crazy. Belle Gibson.
I'm newly obsessed with her again.
Now, before you tell me about all that, I just want to tell you about, and I do not want to identify the person because it makes it funnier, is that if anyone looks up Belle Gibson Official, I know the person who runs it, and it's not Belle Gibson, and it is a parody account, and it makes me laugh a lot.
Is it on Instagram?
It is on Instagram. And what I laugh about it, and I know what Belle Gibson did, and don't get me wrong, what she's done is very bad. Now, I'm a stand-up comedian, which means I usually take the mickey out of most situations. What she did was really crook. But this parody account makes me laugh because it's constantly saying stuff that's just so crazy and made up.
And what's it called? The
Belle Gibson Official.
Belle Gibson Official. Because I've been, doing deep dives. I know that what she did was crook. That is
very crook.
Without question. But also, I think she was a very disturbed person.
Yeah, no normal person gets to where she's at.
No, I think there was some attention, desperation, all of it.
Absolutely. And so the person who runs this, I know, will quite often put up photos of Belle Gibson and say things like, here's one that I'm reading out now. Sorry, I've been a bit quiet on here, but I've been unwell. My doctor has just diagnosed me as having Munchausen syndrome. And it's all been a bit overwhelming. He's only given me 50 to 70 years to live. And it does make me laugh because, like I said, I know what she's done, but these things make me laugh. And they posted recently, and I wrote a thing under it that just said, because I know what it is, that just said, hey, Belle, is it true you have a tuna mornay recipe that protects you from becoming a mermaid? And then people have the Swanee, the replies are quite funny because there's people who are in on the joke who are going, oh, yeah, please let me know because I'm so worried about becoming a mermaid.
Are most people in on it, or does the odd person stumble across this and think it's her? I reckon definitely the latter.
Yes, I think more and more people are understanding that it's a parody account, but then there are still people that are like, shame on you, but which I honestly get. Like, what she did was really bad, but they don't get the joke that is being made here, and it's insane. Like, the stuff that's being written, and what she was doing was off her rocker, but then this stuff has been pushed way further, and there's a lot of people going, you should be ashamed of yourself, whatever, which I get. But then there's one person which is, I mean, this is almost putting a hat on a hat. Like, it becomes so confusing after a while because I'll write something stupid like that, or any of our comic mates will write something stupid.
Yeah.
And then people are like, this is a parody account, because they think we're taking it seriously.
Oh, my God.
And I had one kid who, and I say kid, I think he looked in his 20s, who was like, haha, you're an idiot, this account isn't real. And I was like, I just wrote about ordering off a mermaid.
Yeah. I know. The indicator that I know that this is not real is I'm seriously questioning whether or not a tuna mornay recipe will turn me into a mermaid. Far out, I love tuna mornay.
Tuna mornay.
Do you make tuna mornay? Do your vegan sort of hippie girls eat that? The 3 women you live with?
We don't mind a tuna. I don't mind like a tuna sandwich thing. We don't make tuna mornay.
You've got to.
Yeah, I think it's a nice meal.
It is delicious. And in your family, what's your mum's name again?
Inika.
Inika, that's right. She's got that gorgeous accent.
Yes, the Inika. Yes, good to be here. Well, she's the only one in the fam that doesn't have that. Everyone else has got the Dutchies. Oh, mate. What a crew.
What a crew.
What a crew. Yeah, they don't mind a pickled herring or a tuna.
I know, but they wouldn't make tuna mornay, would they? Like, you've missed out on that. That's an Aussie thing, I reckon.
I reckon you're right. I'm trying to think, what is there, tuna through the North Sea? Because the Dutchies put all the walls up to make sure that the country was built out at sea. And then they just stood on the walls and went fishing, yes, good. And then picked up on whatever fish they could find. So, yeah, I don't mind a bit of tuna.
2 words, Revo Fitness. Here's a few more. Simple, 24/7, reformer Pilates, body scanners, massage chairs, squat racks, free weights, pin and plate loaded equipment, no lock-in contracts, no bullshit. All of that and more from just $9.69 a week. That's surprisingly affordable. Join now at Revo Fitness Windsor Gardens or download the Revo Fitness app, revofitness.com.au, or find the Revo Fitness app in the App Store.
How's this for one, though, in our family? Talking about our vegan
tuna.
family. My partner's half German. There's a ritual now of eating sauerkraut at the end of a meal.
Oh, apparently it's really good for you. Gut health.
These are the conversations that are all happening in our vegan household. And so it's real. I'm like, how will these kids turn out in that we sit around when other kids are like going, oh, we got some Ben and Jerry's and that was really the dessert we had. And they're like, no, we all got a fork out and scooped up some sauerkraut.
And your girls will eat sauerkraut.
Look, they're trying. And my partner's very good at going, this is really good for your health. And they do listen. I've got to give them credit. But then I'm like, what do we... Wow, we have some crazy times here at the Thornton household as I'm cracking open a tin of peanut.
What are some other things that you have to eat that's good for your health?
We have... God, I always get them mixed up and I shouldn't. Because, yes, there's kombucha when we really let our hair down. Of course there is.
Does she make her own?
She does.
Lady?
But of late, we've bought it, which is almost a...
In a can?
In a bottle. Yeah, don't mind a can or a bottle. But then, oh, God, what's it called? Oh, it's...
My mum was an a pioneer, if you will, of kombucha because...
Oh, she did?
She made her own, brewed, do you say brewed? Fermented?
Brewed.
Brewed her own.
Yeah.
In big, like, commercial vats in the shed, I would say in the early 90s. And...
Where'd you grow up?
Hawthorn.
Jeez, that's unheard of.
Yeah, but Mum's always been ahead of the curve. Like, she was in the 60s ordering sunscreen from America to protect us from the sun in Australia because you could not get sunscreen. It just wasn't invented. So she was ordering it in.
That's incredible.
She's always been really ahead of the curve. But she would brew her own kombucha and she would start with green tea as the, liquid.
Yeah, as the base, yeah.
And this organ would grow.
The mother.
But it was like a frisbee, a thick skin frisbee with like veins, and it looked like a placenta, huge.
Because, this was also in the 80s when sci-fi was running hot. Like, that looks like the thing that Alien started in.
Yes.
That thing's going to burst out of it, jump onto your face, and lay eggs into your stomach. Like, it looks genuinely like it would haunt your dreams.
Terrifying.
It's terrifying, and it's supposedly good for you. But because I live in Brunswick in Melbourne, which is, for anyone listening, that is, the inner west in Sydney or whatever alternative suburb you've got.
It's high ratio of human being to kombucha placenta.
High ratio.
Almost as many kombucha placentas as there are rescue dogs.
A lot of rescue dogs.
A lot.
If you got hit by a car and you had to say to the police officer, it was a Subaru with a dream catcher off the rear vision mirror, they're like, that does not whittle it down, mate.
It does not.
So that is what it is. And then on Brunswick forums and Facebook pages, there's a lot of, hey, I can cut the mother off for you and I can deliver it to you.
But you've got to be careful with that because if you cut it with metal, the mother recoils and dies. And then the mother smells like a human being decomposing in your shed on top of a pond of green tea. Honestly,
This is how sci-fi movies start.
Do you know what I'm thinking back to looking in Mum's shed and all of these organs. It was like Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
Do you remember the film Basket Case?
No.
Oh my God, the kombucha mother. Is that what she's called? The mother, the big...
They call it the mother. Like that's what they call it at our joint.
But I feel like when you buy like apple cider vinegar and it's got the mother, it's not a big, thick, skinny thing. It's just like a bit of vapor inside the bottom of the glass. This was like a pig hide.
Yes, the main one is, you're right, it's huge. Because in the odd homebrew that you have, there's always little sediments, and then they are gross. I will concede, I look at it and go, oh, I can't.
And then what happens with the process? Like, because Mum had like a tap on it, and she would fill the bottles.
Yeah.
And then what, do you take the mother out?
I think the mother...
Sounds like a Scissor Sister song. I just like.
I'm gonna take your mother out all night. Show what it's all about.
So, do you take the mother out? Do you wash the mother and then put her on a fresh pool of green tea? Like
this also
bizarre.
This also feels like Deliverance. I'm gonna go wash my mother in a tub.
And I'm gonna turn her over.
You come around and wash my mother while I scrub her.
She's real dirty.
It's not right. In my mind, it kind of looks like a box jellyfish.
Yes.
And you're sitting there and it's in the giant vat. And then I think you just keep drawing from it. Kind of like an old school soup.
Or like a sourdough starter.
Talking about lockdowns.
Yes.
Didn't that...
the same thing.
That really peaked in lockdowns and now no one speaks of it anymore as we have washed away that entire time.
It's like it didn't happen.
Well, it is like it didn't happen. It's not fair that we're in 2025 when I feel like we should still... we should be in 2021. Like, we should have just eliminated it entirely from calendars and gone, hey, we're starting again.
I tell you where the evidence of it is. How old are your girls?
6 and 8.
No, you might have gotten away with it. My kids are slightly older, well, a lot older, 16, 13, 11.
Yeah, they were right in it.
Right in it. Because yours probably hadn't even started school in lockdown.
You know, I brought it up with them only a couple of days ago, and they were like, I'm not following.
Yeah, right.
Because
oh my God,
my
blessed.
Also works in health services. So in health services, like, if they're health services, the kids, if you're really important, they can go to daycare and things because we know you've got a job to do. Now, she had nothing to do.
An
with
essential
lockdown.
worker.
She was seen as an essential worker, but I can be honest about it now. She wasn't essential to this cause. But that was enough when I said they're absolutely going to daycare because I need to keep my sanity.
Yeah.
And so we still dropped them off at daycare and things like that. And that was all fine.
It was a very precarious situation, sanity-wise. But I tell you what, we can all agree that lockdown didn't happen. But where it is evident is if you had school-aged children of any level,
yes.
High school, primary school, there is a whole 2-year block of shit they don't get. And it's coming back to haunt them now.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because in my house, I was the teacher.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm not a good teacher.
Miss Swan.
And I hated it. And they hated it. We hated each other because we were both frustrated and I was tired because I was doing breakfast radio. Radio was an essential service. Can you believe?
I mean, understandably.
Clearly.
Who else is going to throw to Ed Sheeran?
How could anyone get through without us? So I was either tired from working so early, or I was hungover from being drunk the night before waiting for Dan Andrews to tell us where we were allowed out of the house.
Totally.
It was the most horrific time. Horrific. But I do wonder, is anybody else noticing in their kids whole chunks of fundamental education elements that are missing because you didn't do it?
2 words, Revo Fitness. Here's a few more. Simple, 24/7, reformer Pilates, body scanners, massage chairs, squat racks, free weights, pin and plate loaded equipment, no lock-in contracts, no bullshit. All of that and more from just $9.69 a week. That's surprisingly affordable. Join now at Revo Fitness Windsor Gardens or download the Revo Fitness app. RevoFitness.com.au or find the Revo Fitness app in the App Store.
Because we have all forgotten about it. Like, we did all really, and especially here in Melbourne, went, I just don't want to think about it again.
Yeah.
And we spoke about it a lot in the coming months after lockdown was lifted, the last one. But then now we don't speak about it at all.
Yeah.
And so the memories just I forget about. And someone asked me recently about the gigs of lockdowns for a stand-up comedian. Because we were like, how are we going to make money? What are we going to do?
Yeah, so what did you do?
Well, we did Zoom gigs. And
Oh, my God, that's right. They were so depressing.
Swanee.
Oh, my God.
This was one where, because we figured out they worked at kind of lunchtime, and we almost got, a lot of comics talk about, we got too comfortable with it, where they'd quite often people would be online having meetings, and then the CEO, MD would say, look, guys, we've had enough meetings. We're all a bit at the end of our tether. We've got a comedian here. And to a degree, because all the noise had to be off, because Zoom can't handle everyone talking at the same time. So
there was no laughter. You couldn't hear anything.
There was no laughter, but people would come up on the videos and you would see them reacting. And especially here in Melbourne, quite often you get DMs afterwards on social media that said, thanks for that. That was actually really lovely because it's been so tough for us all and things like that. And you go, oh, that's quite nice. But,
What? So how it would work? There'd be hundreds of squares of Deloitte's accounting.
yes. And then you're in the middle of it going, g'day, legend. And you would see, I mean, we all joked about it that you just had, all you needed was a T-shirt on, literally nothing else, because you're sitting in your office with you sitting down going, who knows what's happening when we're all in that point, like who knows what's happening below our waist anyway. Because
How great, what a great service that you gave people laughing when they really just wanted to die.
I mean, you say that. I remember the first time we did it, the first one that I had, it was midweek, they'd finished their work, so at 5 o'clock, and then the boss went, hey guys, we all need a laugh. But this was before people realised they could just put their video on and be like, yeah, I'm in the meeting, and then walk off. And so I was performing my stand-up, and I'm just watching the numbers go down as people were thinking, I'm literally locked in my house, I've got nothing to do, but that is better than watching this idiot.
I'm going to go and visit the mother. I'm going to check my sourdough starter. I'm going to yell at my kids for being stupid at maths.
Anything's better than this idiot. Although, a really funny comedian, Brett Blake, told me the first one he ever did, and this was just luck.
Yeah.
It was for an IT company, and the guy said, to be honest, if you pre-record it, it would be good because I just find it's a little bit better and we can set it up easier. So if you do pre-record it, and it's usually about 20 minutes of stand-up or whatever, then we can just play it out.
What's that like? You don't do that. It's all about the feedback, isn't it? It's about the tempering your performance according to how it lands.
How it's going. And I will concede, comics like to do crowd work in a room. You could do it in Zoom because you'd go almost, what's going on there? What's happening behind you? Because you would almost point out their office or, you go, hey, what's up? Give us a look at your bookshelf.
Yeah, right.
Through with it. And then officers, they'd blow their minds apart because quite often you'd pick, the 2 I see of the company. And you're like, show us around your house. And they're like, oh my God, we're going to actually see Craig's house. And so people find it somewhat enjoyable.
So exciting, isn't it?
With Brett, he told me he pre-recorded the first one and then just sent it to them as a file. And then he was like, this is pretty good. And he kept the recording so that every time everyone went, can we get stand-up? He's like, absolutely you can. Boof. And we just play the recording and then clear off and do whatever he wanted to do. That
is a very high hourly rate of pay. Like the first one, fair. How much would you get paid for that? Like $500, $1,000?
It was weird. It was all over the map. So
let's say it's $1,000.
Sure.
He got $1,000 for 4 seconds work.
Yeah, after
That is
that.
good.
I mean, it was a real, they say the Model T Ford was the first
Yeah.
first industrial, line of production.
The production line, yeah.
Yeah. And you think, he's Model T Forded the stand-up. Like, he's made it initially, and that's a bit of work. But then you can go, I'll make you another one, mate. What colour do you want it in? I'll put another filter on for you. I don't care. Let's
That's
go.
genius. Did you then set up a little home studio and try it yourself?
Well, he told me this about 3 months ago. And I was like, well, where were you through lockdown, mate? You idiot. I mean, look, there were some gigs. One of them I remembered because he'd have different platforms, and they still use them now. Or we're going to be on Microsoft, whatever that one is.
Teams. It's called Teams.
Thank you. And I'm like, what is all this? But this one I got onto, and again, usually be lunchtime, and they'd say, rather than a meeting, let's have some fun. And you'd usually get a bit of a tick of approval if the big boss would say, I want a comedian in, and everyone would have to go, oh, well, if they think it's a good idea, and they would feign interest even if they went into it.
If anyone would go against it.
Totally. But this time, did this lunchtime gig. I get on it, and this kid's like 22 or something. And I said, what's going on, mate? And he goes, it's just for this thing. I said, well, how do you fit into the business? Oh, I'm in IT. I don't know, mate. And I said, who's this going out to in the business? Don't know. I just set it up.
Oh, my God.
And I said, so what are you doing? He goes, I've been told to give you an introduction, and then I'm getting off. And I said, who's going to be on it? Just you, mate. And so he gave me the, here's Dave Thornton. And just the disinterest. It doesn't matter what you've done.
Yeah.
If you've got a kid. Oh, it's time for us to wrap it up.
It's time for us to wrap it up.
But I'll
finish your story, though.
I'll finish this in that it doesn't matter what you've done. You could have done a Hollywood film and he's just like, oh, yeah, this guy was on whatever. Like, he couldn't care less. Threw it to me. I talked at my own face for 20 minutes and then said goodbye to whoever it was. During it, I'm paranoid thinking, my mate set this up. This is going out to my mates' lounge rooms. I can just think of the guys that I grew up with. They're like, we can pay him nothing, man, and he'll just do this. It's incredible.
Talk to your own face.
For 20 minutes. And then I just went goodbye to whoever's watching. Like, it was like I'd been sent on a spaceship, and I'm just going, whoever finds this, just remember I'm safe, and tell my family I love them.
It was your equivalent of a message in a bottle.
Yeah. And then I got off it and then walked around the empty streets of my suburb because no one was outside. So I was like the Omega Man, and then called my manager who said, how are you? And I'm like, I just want someone to talk to. I just walked around the empty street.
Oh, what about when you did see another human? It was like the, apocalypse. It was 28 days later. It's like, there's a live one.
Yeah, but you never knew what people were like.
No.
Because it'd be some guy with his mask down his chin looking at you going, are you going to say something? You're like, oh, mate, I don't want to. I just want someone to talk to. I don't want to fight.
Oh, my God. Thank God that time of our lives is over, as is this podcast. It's a wrap on another ChrissieCast. A huge thank you to the brilliant, hilarious, glittering, blue-eyed Dave Thornton. It's always a treat to see you.
Good to talk to you, mate.
Before you go, don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you love today's chat, slide into my DMs. Follow me on Instagram. Do you follow the ChrissieCast on Instagram, Dave?
100%.
I've been very slack. I've been very busy. In fact, let's talk about that next in the next time that we meet.
Okay.
About how slack I was about the podcast and how I nearly let it funnel away to nothing just before grabbing it out of the tap hole.
Oh, you rescued it from the jaws of defeat.
I rescued it. Thanks for hanging out. Can you turn the lights off on your way out?
Can you empty the bins?
Yes, please. No sharps.
2 words, Revo Fitness. Here's a few more. Simple, 24/7, reformer Pilates, body scanners, massage chairs, squat racks, free weights, pin and plate loaded equipment, no lock-in contracts, no bullshit. All of that and more from just $9.69 a week. That's surprisingly affordable. Join now at Revo Fitness Windsor Gardens or download the Revo Fitness app. RevoFitness.com.au or find the Revo Fitness app in the App Store.